So we are live on a Friday afternoon. It is March 12th. Welcome. This is Jeff Berger, and I am of Abundance and Optimum Wellness, also known as your holistic wellness gladiator. So before I formally introduce my special guest this afternoon, many of you have been following my holistic journey. My mission with these weekly interviews, I want to let you know that it's really to bring light to an area of health and wellness that's really not getting out into the mainstream media. And we want to bring value, we want to bring direction, we want to bring hope to those who are really looking for some answers. And there are a lot of people out there looking for answers, but they don't know where to search. So we're doing this on social media. It's a great platform, and there's a wealth of information by many of us that are passionate about what we're doing. I'm a certified health and integrative wellness coach, and I am partnered with the only holistic mental wellness company that actually focuses on the microbiome, which is the gut, brain, heart axis. And this really is a science that's disrupting the health and wellness industry today, because as our great Hippocrates, who first documented all disease starts in the gut. And this is where everything really starts. There's so much science out there. The Microbiome Project is now publishing their clinical studies, their research in medical journals and scientific journals in regards to this phenomena of gut health. So if you're joining us live, and we do have a Facebook user, I don't know who you are, put in your first name for that Facebook user. Let us know, where you're tuning in from. If you're going to catch us on the replay, definitely catch us on the replay with where you're coming in. We'll circle around and definitely answer your questions if you have any. So without further ado, I would love to, I'm really anxious to talk to Deirdre. She's from Albany, New York. I'm actually in Western New York today, in outside of Buffalo, New York. I'm here for a couple of months. Deirdre is married to David. She's got 2 beautiful children. She was a practicing lawyer for 7 years. She left her career just short of burning out. And I just told her before we went live, I should have done the same thing, because I burnt out after 25 years of being a software engineer. And that's what we're here to discuss today. So without further ado, welcome, Deirdre, and thank you for taking time from your schedule and share a little bit about who Deirdre is.
Thank you, Jeffrey. It's an honor to be here talking with you today. I am, as you said, I'm Deirdre McLean, and I'm an attorney on a journey. And it is my mission to bring awareness to the legal community that there are holistic mental wellness solutions. I wish I had known about that when I was a struggling attorney. So I'd like to share a little bit about my story so people can understand where I'm coming from and why this mission is so important to me.
Awesome. Go for it.
Okay. So my struggles started when I was in law school. Mm-hmm. I had trouble sleeping. I stopped sleeping, and I actually developed physical problems. My muscles started to atrophy, and I ended up at a physiatrist, and I ended up with physical therapy, and they ended up referring me to a psychiatrist to help me to sleep, because my brain would not shut off at night. It wasn't that I was up studying all night. It was that my brain would not shut off at night. So I ended up on antidepressants. And then when I graduated law school and started practicing, I needed more medication to wake up and be a high performer. So I needed medication to sleep and more to actually wake up. And then a few years into my career, the medications weren't working as well, and I needed more. And then eventually I was on a cocktail of 3 in order to show up and be a high performer. So that's not good.
That's not good. So just a quick question before you go on. Were they able to determine what the cause of your brain not shutting down? Did they come up with anything for you?
So we're going back a long time, and I actually liked my doctor. But this is what he said to me. I was in my young 20s, and he said, "You are a type A person.
Okay. I
You're,
am.
yeah, you're a
Me too.
you're a train wreck, and you're going to derail if you don't figure it out."
Okay.
And then he referred me to the psychiatrist. And she said, you know, this is what the doctor has already tried. I mean, I took enough Elleville, as the doctor said, to sedate an elephant. And
Wow.
they even tried narcotics. Like, they could not get my brain to shut off. And that's when they referred me to the psychiatrist. And they never delved into it. They just prescribed medication to shut me down. And it did shut me down. And then I needed more to get me going again. You know, with what I know now, it's my guess, my educated guess, that I likely have ADHD. And it was probably the stress of law school and all the work and all the tools and strategies that I had in high school and college weren't enough in law school.
Yeah.
So that was probably the reason why my brain wouldn't shut down. And I had other symptoms as well, but no one ever talked about it. It wasn't something that I was even aware of 20 some odd years ago. I never knew anyone with ADHD. You know, now it's very common. So I don't know that I have that, but I suspect that I do.
I totally relate with you on that. I'm going back, me 40 years. You're 20 years, me 40 years. Eight type personality, always on the go. And I think, you know, a lot of it has to do with the stress that we are presented at work, because it's all about high performance. It's about meeting the numbers and, you know, work, and piling it on as a software engineer.
And perfectionism.
Exact. Well,
if you can relate to that.
Quality assurance. You have to be perfection. And we're looking for that, you know, that finite. And I think that, you know, in my own personal experience, it's been that the pressure and all the anxiety. So I totally relate with where you're coming from. Back when I was a kid, there was no, as you said, there was no ADHD. There was no, and today we got autism and you know, all the other autoimmune diseases for young kids. But let's get back to the high stress, and we'll get into stress resilience, which is what we're really here to talk about, which is amazing. And there are solutions, but go ahead and continue with your story, because you're letting our viewers. And real quick here, we've got Lynn Clark Lambert is on board, and then my buddy Ryan King is on board as well. And I didn't hear back from the Facebook user, so go ahead.
So, you know, for whatever the reason, there was a lot of stress, and the result is that I was having physiological problems in my body. And so there are going to be times when there's stress, and the key is learning how to mitigate the effects of the stress. Right. So when I decided to have a family, I went off of medication, and I decided that I did not want to return to a career and a lifestyle, because it's more than a career. It is a lifestyle, a lifestyle where I needed to medicate myself to be a high performer. So I chose to walk away from my career. I don't regret that decision. Staying home and being there for my kids was absolutely the right decision. I don't regret that. However, I left feeling like there was something wrong with me, because I couldn't marry the career and the family and the life that I wanted. And I felt like there was something wrong with me, that I needed medication to perform in my career. So I left feeling like a failure. And actually, there were a lot of years where I felt a lot of shame about my life.
Wow.
So I carried that with me. And then actually a few years ago, I had another stressful time in my life. And I started to feel unwell again. I let the stress, and I shouldn't say that I let the stress. but the stress caused physical problems in my body once again. So there are going to be times when life gets very, very stressful. And really the key is developing stress resilience so that it doesn't affect us physically and mentally.
Exactly. So what have you found? Share with our viewers. Jeffrey from Canada, Carrie's from, I think it's South Carolina. I hope I got that right, Carrie. Share what you found in regards to stress resilience, because so many people that I'm talking to today are just stressed out like 50 to 100%. They just don't know what to do. So share a little bit about, how you've been able to manage that over the last 2 years or so.
Okay. So I'm just going to put it out there. I am not anti-pharmaceutical.
Right.
However, I went that route. And while sure, I was, right? Yep. I was able to get out of bed and perform, but I was a very heavily medicated version of myself. And it didn't feel great. Right. And, we have a range of emotions. Right. And I was always like, down here, just below the straight line. And there certainly wasn't a range of emotions. So a couple of years ago, I learned about the connection between the gut and the brain and the gut-brain axis. And I was really, really skeptical because I had actually been doing a gut protocol for cancer. And I knew the importance of the gut. Sure. I knew that. I knew that the gut was making me sick because it was. I had a massive yeast overgrowth from too much sugar, medication, stress, all of it. Right. So I knew that was important, and I knew that it had made me sick. And I knew by taking care of it and taking high quality probiotics and cleaning up my diet and exercise and all of that, I knew that I was improving my health. But I also thought, okay, I'm doing all the things. So if there's really a connection between the microbiome and the brain and mental wellness, I would be a poster child for mental wellness. And I wasn't. I was really still not sleeping great. I was overwhelmed. I mean, that's how I would describe myself, as an overwhelmed person. And I didn't have a lot of motivation, and I just wasn't feeling right. I mean, there were times in March, I'd be there watching B-rated Christmas movies on my iPad. I mean, that's just not the person that I wanted to be. Right. So I kind of thought, if there really is a connection, I'd be the poster child, and I wasn't. So then I learned that there are actually specific probiotics that help with mental wellness, that help your own production of serotonin and dopamine. And I was kind of like, And then I learned about different herbs. And I like rafuma and kanna and ashwagandha and magnolia bark that help with depression and stress resilience and tension and anxiety. And I am no stranger to supplementation. So I thought, and I gave it a try. And it was a game changer. So I now know, I know from my own experience and from what I see with other people that I work with, that there is such an important connection between the gut and the brain.
Exactly. And what I love about this, Deirdre, is that, bottom line is plants were put here for a reason. And with the science and the technology that we have today, we're able to, these amazing, researchers and scientists are able to pull out the essence of these plants that target specific neurotransmitters that aid in gut repair as well as mental acuity, which is reducing your anxiety, reducing the stress, leveling out the cortisol levels from your adrenals. And this is the beauty of it, because this is what we should be doing all along. And it's our responsibility to get this information out there, because the last 6 months of my professional career, I was out on disability and I was on pharmaceuticals. I had to quit them because they made me crazy. I went wild. I couldn't take those pharmaceuticals because they weren't healthy. And when, so I get where you're coming from. I totally relate to that. And, just like you, my changes have been astronomical, 360, so forth and so on. But, share, we're coming up onto the 15 to 20 minutes here. You've got an amazing story. We both have a mission here. We're both involved with, educating the consumer and just bringing awareness. Here's the thing is that we want to bring awareness. We want to bring information, direct people. If it resonates, great. If it doesn't, okay, it doesn't. And that's the beauty of what we got going on here. And Jeffrey and I have go back at least, it's got to be almost a year and a half. And Jeffrey's a beautiful man. He's a light worker, and he is very, very familiar with pharmaceuticals. Between him and myself, we both attempted suicide because of our own, health history, if you will, and won't get into it now. But a beautiful man shares and is really thanking both of us for, giving back this information. So thank you, Jeffrey, for those kind words. I want
to thank Jeffrey as well.
Awesome.
I think the pharmacy, you said he's a light worker, and I feel like the pharmaceuticals and the stress dimmed my light.
Yes.
It has taken me these years to light that light, and now I'm ready to shine. And I feel like we have to heal our own bodies.
Right.
Obviously I'm not against Western medicine. I'm not, but there are times when we can absolutely support and heal our bodies. And you were talking about the cortisol and the hormones. I want to share this as well, because it came up in a couple of conversations today, and I think it's really important to some of my people.
Absolutely.
So when I regulated my microbiome and my cortisol levels, my hot flashes went away. And that is really, really important, because our adrenals they're supposed to pick up the slack when some of the other hormones decrease, like the estrogen and progesterone. Right. And so the adrenals are there to pick up the slack. But if our adrenals are shot, then they're not there to do that. And they're not able to fully do that. So once I was able to restore balance in my body was naturally able to take care of it. So I just think it's so huge. Our gut, our brain, our heart, and the connection between, they're all interrelated. And we need to support and take care of all of them. It's what we eat. It's what we watch. It's everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I've taught in some of my workshops on Saturdays is we have this one body temple that we live in, and we only have one chance to really get the best out of it. And we should be feeding it the right protocols, which is, good, healthy foods and plant-based foods. And as you say, pharmaceuticals are there for, I'm the first one to say, when I'm passing a kidney stone, give me the Demerol, give me whatever, but I don't need it for 5 months or 5 years. But we're not meant to have man-made chemicals. And for those of you out there, in my research, and Deirdre, I think you'll agree with me on this, the foods that we're eating that are chemically processed and, that are, synthetic and all that kind of stuff, they have chemicals in them that alter your brain thinking. They alter your emotions. They have impacts on stress, anxiety. Glyphosate is one of the biggest contributors to this, and it's destroying that mental acuity to be able to be stress resilient. Stress resilience is being able to handle. I'm going through very difficult times, and I'll share this real quick because my sister-in-law passed away in November. My mom passed in January. My brother-in-law passed 2 weeks ago, and I just found out my middle brother, who's disabled with MS, was diagnosed with stage 4 colon and liver cancer. Talk about stress, talk about anxiety. But I've been thankful that I've been able to manage that. You know, I've got the stress, and you're able to evaluate that situation rather than react. And many people react to stress. And the idea is to be in control of those emotions and kind of evaluate and set a purpose to that. So what, Deirdre? Yeah. So thank you. So yeah, Deirdre, what would be your, share a plant a seed, share a nugget with our viewers today to shed some light or be able to germinate that seed for those who are really looking for that one glimmer of hope, whether, you know, it's with their own physical and or mental health, if they're really looking for a possible solution or information or guidance. What would that be for our viewers today?
I just want to really offer hope that we really can feel better. Mental wellness is a continuum.
Mm-hmm.
And wherever you fall today, it's where you are today. And our goal is to always keep moving a little bit to the right, to feel better every single day. Right. And there are so many things that we can do to support our bodies and to support our journey to feeling better. So I just want to offer hope, and if you're solution oriented, mm-hmm. There are solutions out there that can help you feel better today. So, so that's it. And we actually, Jeffrey and I both have a mental wellness assessment. So if you're curious to see where you would land on the continuum, then just reach out. It's something that I do every couple of months just to check in and see how I'm doing. Do you do the same thing, Jeffrey? Do you take it periodically?
Great idea. Yes, I do. And when I first took it, I was at a 2 out of a score from 0 to 1 to 10. And right now I'm at an 8, between an 8 and a 9, but I'm working on towards getting to a 10 because it is achievable. You know, we've been destroying our bodies for decades. Many of us who are in our, 40s, 50s, 60s. And it's not going to happen overnight. You have to treat it on a day-to-day basis, and it's a lifestyle change because we're so used to eating junk food and all that garbage that's out there and the unhealthy foods that are in our supermarkets. You have to change in order to, to mend your gut and to bring that acuity, the mental acuity, back to a really good state. So,
and it doesn't have to be complicated. It's not complicated. It does have to be intentional.
Yes. Perfect. Intentional. That's the only way it's going to work, and be committed. You have an intention to getting better and then be committed to doing that on a day-to-day basis, whether it's a half a step or a full step, day after day, and you'll get there. So,
and I'm going to say one more thing and then we can end.
Sure.
But I just want to say, I know without a doubt that if I had these tools when I was in law school and earlier in my career, it would have absolutely been a game changer for me.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. But I say what I do is it's better later than never. We're here. Absolutely. We have a mission, and we're going to fulfill that mission. Thank you, Deirdre, for your time, for your expertise, all the wisdom that you've shared today. I'm really humbled that you joined me. So thank you all for joining, and I'll be back on Tuesday with Testimonial Tuesday, and every Friday I'm going to be throwing in a special guest here and there. All right. And I am doing a Take a Mind Break on Thursday, the 18th. It is a Zoom event. If you are interested in that, I have a special guest, Dr. 𝗠𝗲 𝗙𝗶, who is our Chief Science Officer. He is the unicorn, and he is a renowned nutritionist. So we're going to be talking about stress resilience and stress, mental fitness. Mental fitness is the 2021 talk for this year. Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Have a great weekend. Thank you. Bye-bye.